What should I have done then? If I'm pretty poor at DIY, what should I have done? Well, the first thing people do is they look inside their family. They look inside their organisation to find someone that, you know, can do the job for them. My father is of that generation where he's quite handy. My father-in-law is very handy. In fact, he's a professional handyman. He's a painter and decorator, but he does turn his hand to other stuff. So I should have got them, but they were busy at the time, so I thought I'll have a go. But that's what you guys do. Health and safety guy, the maintenance guy, someone in your organisation that might know a little bit more about fire safety than you. You put them forward to do the risk assessments. I could have then gone to a friend, someone I know, someone that, you know, my neighbour. In fact, I tried this, to be honest. I did try the neighbour because he'd built a gate and it was excellent. He'd used some of the scrap wood that I gave to him and he built a gate. And I said, I'll buy you a lunch if you can do my gate. But that's a friend, someone who comes into your establishment to do something like, you know, the fire extinguisher maintenance or maintain the fire doors. Yeah, if you've got a company that comes in, a lot of people say, can you do a risk assessment? In fact, I went on a course in Blackpool, 2-day course to become, not to become a fire risk assessor, but a 2-day training course. It was an introductory course. It was set at that level. It was IFSM approved and IFE approved. So it was a good course, but obviously it had limitations. Opposite was 4 guys from a Legionella and asbestos firm. Nothing to do with fire, Legionella and asbestos firm. They'd been that round to that many properties and been asked that many times if they could do a risk assessment that they couldn't, they couldn't ignore it any longer. You know, they knew there was money to be made because they said, can you do this for us? We're desperate to find a risk assessor. Can you do this for us? A 2-day training course that was designed for, you know, just to give you an introduction, and they were using that as a way into the profession. And a week later, because I checked, they were based in Warrington. I knew one of the guys from the rugby club, and a week later they were trained as professional risk assessors. They were offering their services as risk assessors. I couldn't have done it on the back of a 2-day course. That is criminal to actually allow people to do that kind of stuff. Nothing to do with the trainer. The training course was good, but it was set as limitations. That's exactly what happened in Lacanau House, the Marie Curie house. A sister block apparently was done by occupational risk assessors. Someone from Southwark Council did it, and they'd done that on the back of a day's training course. The London Fire Brigade had done a day's training course for them, and apparently that qualified them to go and do a high-rise building like that. I could have then started to look around for someone else, a handyman. Yeah, someone, there's loads and loads of handymen around that could have done a door, but they're probably not a specialist. Like my father-in-law, he's a specialist painter and decorator. But, you know, he could have done this. He's done some block paving recently. So a jack of all trades, and that's exactly what happens in the industry. We've got jack of all trades, people that are in the fire safety, that will do alarms, do extinguishers, do fire risk assessments. So they're not really specialists. I could have gone to a garden gate specialist firm. So I could have gone to someone that actually advertises and makes garden gates for a living. Yeah, I could have gone to a specialist firm. It would have cost me a bit more, obviously. Or I could have gone to a bespoke joinery firm. I could have gone to someone who really, you know, I could have had knobs and twizzles and fancy bits on that gate, but obviously that would have cost me. Now the problem is, from friend down, it's very difficult to determine. If you're just looking for a risk assessor, you can't really determine which one's which. It's almost impossible to discover who's got the experience, who's got the knowledge, who's got the qualifications to do your risk assessments. So government advice is pretty darn poor. It says, companies providing fire safety services are listed in local directories. Alternatively, you may be able to ask your insurer for a recommendation. If you ask your insurer, they'll say, look in the yellow pages. That's what they'll say. So you look in the yellow pages or whatever, Google them, and you'll find this. You'll find that they've come from all different backgrounds. The fire service, a fireman obviously knows about fire risk assessment, doesn't he? Obviously he does. I mean, he might have driven a truck for for 10 years he was in the fire service, never been near any fire safety stuff, but obviously he knows about fire risk assessments. From the related profession, as we said, from the health and safety background, or someone might have even made a conscious decision to learn about fire risk assessment and actually do it, change career. Yeah, it's demand outstripped supply quite early on. There wasn't enough risk assessors to go around. People were desperate to get risk assessors, so people made a conscious choice to change professions and go into it. If you're lucky, when you start looking in the yellow pages and look on the website, you might find some of these. But what do they mean? Do you know? Are you going to investigate that much into it? Are you going to really search? You look at this, you've got NEBOSH fire certificate, fantastic. What does it actually mean? What do they do? What level are they at? Professional Institute approved training, I went on it. Just because it's professionally approved training doesn't mean it's a good course. It enables you to do the job. Abbey Level 3, Fire Service Experience, National Register of Fire Risk Assessors, Health and Safety Qualifications, IFPO, IFE, IFSEM. So there's a bewildering display of things that they could have that you really need to know what that means. So we're going to have a little test. You have to make a subjective assessment of this guy. This is a real guy that I picked off the internet. I've changed his name, I've changed a few little things so we can't actually identify him. But what I want you to do as an audience, I want you to go through this now. I'll read it through with you, and I want you to then make a decision. You can either do a little checklist on your piece of paper, you can do it in your head. Is this guy competent? Because this is how you would select it. You go on the yellow pages, you look, find this guy on the internet, you'd read this and you'd think, yes, he's competent, or no, he's not. John Smith is an expert. Fantastic. So he's an expert at fire risk assessment and manages Fox's fires. So he's a manager of a large team. Brilliant. He'll help ensure your business complies with current UK. That's what you need. You need to comply, don't you? You've got to comply, so he'll help us. He's a highly skilled professional, fire safety consultant who has recently left the Army Fire Service after 22 years. He's been in the Army. They train people. Goodness me, they do train people well, don't they? So he must know what he's talking about. He's currently a fire safety consultant and member of the Institute of Fire Prevention. Fantastic. Institute of Fire Prevention Officers. He can prevent the fire in my property from starting. Brilliant. John is on the National Register of Fire Risk Assessors. Superb. John completed his Army Fire Safety course in 1998. His past experience includes 11 years in roles of Deputy Fire Safety Officer, Senior Fire Safety and Command Fire Safety Officer. So look at that guy on paper. You make a subjective decision now. Does that know the guy, is he competent to do fire risk assessments? Put your hand up if you would make contact with that guy. Is that all? Good. Okay, there was quite a few of you. We'll come back to John later, and there's quite a startling revelation about John.